Good morning, good morning. So sorry I'm about a minute late. I was still doing some reading up and writing some notes. So for those of you who are not familiar with me, my name is Sveta Melchak, and I'm a homestager and Airbnb host and a decorator in Montreal. I also flip homes with my husband, and I've been doing this for about 15 years. So I run this group, and for those of you who are going to join me and are my regulars, you will notice that my background is different, and I'm actually kind of really liking it, to be honest. You might have seen last week my Facebook Live was all about rearranging and creating your home office space and being creative and not using too much money. Actually, I haven't used any money on rearranging my office. I basically just turned my table around, and I rearranged my little bit of my furniture. And I am before I was my background was my wallpapered wall, but now I turn my desk 90 degrees. I'm actually facing the big patio door today, which is great, and I think the lighting is so much better. I'm very happy with that. It's the first Facebook Live I'm doing with the new furniture arrangement. And in the back, those are IKEA cabinets. And here I'll show you, you see. So I keep all of my stuff, all of my papers, all my junk that I don't want people to see. It's all kept in here. You can see this one. It's like the really nice cubes, and you can put whatever you want in there. And I think it looks pretty neat. So I see a lot of people are coming on. I guess the the stinky house topic is of interest. So good morning, Debbie. I'm glad you're liking the background. Yeah, I like it too. It's very simple. It's understated, and it's not distracting. And the best thing about this positioning of the desk is that I am facing a big patio door. So I just find that the lighting is so much better, because the only thing I have for lighting is a Diva light, which is like a little ring light here. So I'm encouraging you, for anybody who is playing around with your home office space, is try different configurations and different ways to place your furniture. And look who is with us. Good morning, Adriana from Brazil. Nice to see you. So as you're coming on, please put your name in, or if you give permission to Facebook, to StreamYard, to use your Facebook profile, you do it at the top of my video, and then you can only do it once, and it will remember it, hopefully, and I will be able to see your name. If you don't do that, then I can see your name only after I finish my Facebook Live and I go back into the group. So in that case, you can maybe just give me your name, say hello, and let's do this. So this is kind of an interesting topic. And what I really kind of, sometimes I get inspired, sometimes less so. But what I wanted to for you to walk away with today. And by the way, I wanted to mention something else. Somebody else is saying good morning, but I don't know who you are, so you're gonna have to put your name in, please. Is that Facebook is being really nasty these days, and it's becoming more and more difficult for Facebook groups to be visible and for posts. Hello, Nancy from Burlington. Burlington, is it Burlington, Ontario, or Burlington, Vermont? Where is Burlington? It's becoming more and more difficult for me to get my posts shown in the Facebook group, and that's really annoying. And it's very difficult, obviously, to control, because Facebook is always changing algorithms. And the only thing that helps me, and in turn will help you, is that whoever is on, guys and ladies, I should say, we have a couple of men, but it's really by you being engaged. And when you comment or put a yes, or specifically, likes are like the least important one is for a Facebook. But if you actually take the time to even put a yes or whatever little comment, it helps the algorithm. It shows Facebook that there are people who are interested, that are people who are engaged, and then in turn it keep showing the post to other people in the community. And this is very important to me because I have people who are afterwards are searching for my post and saying, oh, I thought you were doing, this post on this topic and I can't find it anymore. So it is very frustrating. It's very frustrating for me as well because, not only I put a lot of time and effort into it, but I genuinely want people to benefit from what I have to say and hopefully connect with me to work with me if that's something you're looking for. So I see Marina said that she likes my chair. Actually, here I'll get up and you can see, here, and you can actually see me. So this is funny because I don't like this chair. It's actually an old chair that I picked up, I think. Maybe, I don't remember. Anyway, it's not something that I particularly like, but I tried a much better looking chair, except that it was not very comfortable at all. And it was too low for this desk. So I went back to this chair, but thank you thank you for telling me that you like it. So it's great. Somebody else just said good morning to me, but I don't know who you are. So just post your name and just keep posting. Just remember that if you are enjoying my posts or my Facebook lives, and if you're enjoying being part of this community, please just put little comments in. And today I really want, it's a very delicate topic. It's a sensitive topic. It's a stinky topic. Not a lot of people actually talk about the house smells, but I have a pet peeve about this. I'm very obsessed about it, as you'll see. And I really want to talk about it because it is a very important topic. So I want you to walk away with a few things. I want you to understand why you have house smells, and unfortunately pretty much everybody does, and to pay attention to the house smells that you have, particularly if you're selling the house, and then taking actions on it, okay, and actually trying to fix it, especially if you're selling the house and you want people to walk in. And the reason for that is that we're influencing people to like your house more than anybody else's is it's emotional response. Okay, so of course it has to meet their criteria for where the location and how many bedrooms you have, and whether it's close to a particular school that the people might want. So of course there are all these criteria that need to be looked at first. But once that's taken care of, people might end up with 10 or 15 houses to visit. Now, what would make them choose your house in particular, and why would they want to pay a lot more money for your house? Well, obviously that is where the concept of home preparation and updating and staging comes in. And this is what I'm expert in. I have over 15 years of experience. As a matter of fact, I have been quite busy running around and giving quotes, and I try to get away from too many of physical stagings because I just prefer to do my work online. But sometimes I can't get away from it, and sometimes I'm doing favors for some realtors in my local Montreal market who like working with me and are asking me to help them out. So I will be doing quite a big staging this week on Thursday for a very high-end condo apartment. It's going to be listed for over $1 million. So, and the clients are very, how should I say it politely? They're very nice, but they're very picky, very, very picky. And so it creates additional stress, and it's not always easy to deal with people who have very particular ideas set on what they want, whether I'm trying to explain to them that in home staging, you really have to be flexible and you have to work with what's available. And I will do my best to achieve the result that will help them sell their condo fast and for a really good price. So smells are really part of the staging. And this is something that most people do not talk about. And I will be curious to know whether, if you ever talked to a realtor, if you ever had realtors that you interviewed and came to your house, whether it's something that was addressed. My guess is that most realtors will not talk about it and will not address the issue, even if they know that there is an issue. And all that because it is a kind of a delicate topic to discuss. And many times in my home staging career, realtors would send me to the clients and they would tell me privately that the house smells, that there's a cat litter smell or there's humidity smell or people were smoking inside the house. And they knew it, and they knew that it had to be dealt with and it had to be addressed. But they themselves, the realtors, did not want to discuss this topic with their clients. So they would send me in to deal with it, okay? So, and when I work online, and this is just something that hit me recently, because I can see, obviously I can help you by looking at your place online through Zoom or Messenger, and I can hear, so I can see if there's, things that are happening, noise or whatever it needs, but I cannot smell. So that is one of the things that made me think that I definitely need to talk about it, because when I work with my clients online and I do online consultations, or I guide them through the whole process of updating and preparing their house for sale and then staging it, well, that's one of the things that we need to discuss, and I'll be more vigilant about it, discussing it with people. But it's something that unfortunately I'm not able to be present on site, so I cannot really do it. So we need to talk about it. Okay. So as I mentioned before, I'm really obsessed with smells, and I think it's kind of maybe, I don't know why, maybe my eyesight is not the best. And so I have a very sensitive nose, I guess, and I react to smells easily, and it bugs me. It really bugs me when we go into a house, even my own house, okay? And I do want to mention that I do have a certain issue, and my husband drives him crazy because every time we walk into our house, I complain about the smell. Now, and I keep asking other people too, if they actually smell something when they walk into my house. Now, we think that we know where the smell comes from, and I have a lower floor, so we own a little building with 2 apartments, let's say 2 condo apartments. We live on the ground floor. We extended ours, but everything is on one floor. And when we walk in, my laundry, my stackable washer dryer are kind of close to the entrance of the house. It's in a cabinet, in a closet. But I think the problem is that my washing machine is a little old, and I was probably not taking care of it the way I should have taken care of it at the beginning, in terms of always making sure that the door is open and that all the water is taken out and that it's cleaned out. So over time, the washer built a certain little smell of humidity, maybe even sewer. And now I even had a repairman one time. He came, and I asked him if there's something that can be done about it. And maybe even last week, I think what I did is I looked up I Googled, how to get rid of a washer smell, because other people might not necessarily notice it, but to me, it's very noticeable, and it's very disturbing, because every time I walk into my own house, I detect that little smell of humidity or mold, maybe musty kind of smell, and it really, really bothers me. So one of the miracle products I'm going to talk about today, it's a white vinegar. And it's crazy. The more research I do, every time I Google and I say, okay, how do I get rid of the musty smell of my washer? Well, what comes back is, put 2 cups of white vinegar in it and do a hot cycle, which I did about last week. And I think it really did make a difference. So it's something that's probably I need to do every month or so, until I change my washing machine. So I wanted to relate this to you, because I want to tell you that pretty much every house that you've ever been into or I've been into has a particular smell. And I would like you to put some comments. I see we have lots of people today. Good morning. I'm so happy to see you guys. I have my energy. put it in the chat box, okay? Is it true? Do you think that what I'm saying, it actually makes sense to you? That pretty much every house, when you walk into, let's say your friends or your family, that as soon as you walk in, you detect a particular smell that belongs to that house, okay? Just put it in the chat box and let me know, because I think that it's every house has a smell. There are very, very few houses where I've ever been that doesn't smell of anything, okay? And that's fantastic. Now, let me tell you a little story which relates exactly to the fact that I did not buy a house because of its smell. And it has actually happened more than once, of course, but this particular time, it was way before I started doing home staging, and I was shopping for a home for our first house with my then husband, and the real estate agent kept bringing us to different houses and showing us things. And I remember one particular home where we went, and honestly, I don't remember the house. I don't remember anything in that house. The only thing I do remember, and we're talking like literally 20 years, maybe 25 years later, is that there was a smell. As soon as we walked in, that particular smell was of spices and East Asian, South Asian food, and it was like kind of like a curry smell, if you know what I mean. And it was just so assaulting, it was so strong that I just wanted to run out. Like, I did not care to see the house. I did not want to see anything in that house. I just wanted to turn around and leave, which is exactly what I did. So I never gave the house a chance that maybe it deserved. I just wanted to leave. And so I would like to see your comments to see whether something like that has happened to you as well. If you've ever, what do you think of house smells? Like, do you have any comments, any stories, how smells can influence completely and totally the way we feel about a house, or even maybe the owners of the house, right? Because we are influenced very much by our environment. So sometimes it might be subconscious, you might not even realize it, but what you see, what you hear, what you smell, all of that comes into play to give you a message of whether you're liking and wanting that particular house or not. So Adriana says, I also have a sensitive nose and smells often make me leave a room, a store, and a house. Yeah, exactly. It can be food, sweets, or any kind of strong smells. Yeah, my husband is also very sensitive to smells. And when we traveled in Thailand, he had a really hard time because, everything smells of fish or sewers. And to him, it was just, he had a hard time dealing with that because he associates those types of smell with places not being clean. So it was a little bit of a big concern for our traveling. So I would say the first thing you need to do is really to think about, be honest with yourself, and does your house have a smell? And if it does, what is it? Now, how do you detect that smell? Well, usually if you just open your front door, and literally in the first second or two when you walk into your own house, sometimes you can smell it yourself. So if you do, I would really like you to pay attention to that and let me know, like, would you feel that your own house has a smell? Post it in the comments in the chat box and be honest. Like, do you feel that your house has a smell? And it's true that I'm talking about the bad smells, but you can also influence people with good smells. And that's a very good point, Adrienne. I'm really happy you brought it up, that you can have the smells such as vanilla, lemon, fresh essence, that it makes you bamboo, it makes you feel comfortable and welcoming and warm, and makes you want to stay in a place. So if you're thinking about that, then you really need to add the smells into your total mix of preparing your house for sale, right? And that's why we're talking about it today. So first thing is to actually be able to be honest and detect or realize that your house might have a smell. If you don't smell it yourself, what I would suggest is asking somebody who is close to you and who will be honest, but who doesn't necessarily live in your house or comes to your house every day. So maybe you're a friend of yours or a relative, but somebody who comes in occasionally, and you specifically ask them to be honest and let you know if your house smells and is the smell. Debbie says, I know when my kids haven't changed the cat litter, and that is one of the worst smells. I agree, Debbie. It's like when you have cats. I had 3 cats in my life. I don't have any right now. But if the litter is not changed, it can be awful, especially if you have a smaller, more enclosed space. Everything is on one floor, like what I have. So my suggestion is to discuss it within your group and maybe your family, and then maybe ask a friend to be honest with you. Now, one thing that you have to also think about, whether that smell is temporary or permanent. Now, temporary smells, everybody has them, right? Like you burn a toast, or you just made fresh coffee, which smells really good. Like you said, litter box hasn't been changed, so all of a sudden the house smells really bad, but it's easy to fix. And even food. Okay, one of the things, and unfortunately, there's some people, like to cook with a lot of garlic and a lot of onion, or they like to eat a lot of fish. I have no problem with that. Where I do have a problem, it's if you're doing it when your house is on the market, and especially maybe I would say at least 48 hours before you have visits. So that's something that you really need to pay attention to as well, is not to cook with any particular strong spices or fish or anything that can make the house smell, particular smell that some people might displease them. So those smells are temporary though. So for example, another strong smell that we have a problem with is tobacco. So some people smoke cigarettes, some people smoke pipes. Okay, now it's maybe less common than it was 10, 15 years ago, but it's still something that you need to address within your household. If there's somebody in your house who does smoke, it's definitely a big no-no and a big deterrent for a lot of people when they're trying to buy a house. Like I don't remember where I was recently. I walked into a place and I could tell that people were either smoking in there now or somebody smoked in there recently. Oh yeah, it was an apartment. It's true, it was an apartment. And it was like, it totally turned me off. And I started thinking to myself that, like, how would I get, if I wanted to live in that apartment, if I wanted to buy it, like what would I do to get rid of that smell? So obviously you have to repaint the whole place. It's like the first step, because sometimes that smell is so much impregnated into the walls and the furniture that no matter what you do, it's not gonna be easy to get rid of tobacco smell. So please keep posting, give me your ideas, ask me questions in the chat. So what other smells you can think of that would ruin your desire to buy a house. So we talked about the cat litter. That's a biggie. And that I always mention it to clients. Like I ask them if they have dogs or cats, and then I ask them if they're cats, dogs hopefully go outside, or if they go in a pee-pee pad, obviously the pee-pee pad has to be removed for visits. But if they have a cat litter, I actually bring it up and I tell people, I ask them, like, where do you keep your cat litter? And like, you make sure that you change it every day, make sure that it's very clean, that people do not smell the cat litter, smell cat urine, because cat urine, especially on area rugs or if you have carpets or anything, it's so difficult to take out, and it can literally change the way people see your house. So you could potentially lose a sale of your house for something as little as that. So I'm trying to prevent you from doing that just by giving you tips and ideas and just making you think that it's something that you really need to address. Now, what other bad smells could there be in your house? So for example, trash. Now that is something that, again, I'm super sensitive to, and I notice right away. Now, again, it's not something that's necessarily hard to get rid of, but you have to pay attention to that, because it's terrible when you walk into somebody's house and it smells of trash. The other smells are like typically what I see is old carpets. Like, it's hard to describe, but I'm sure you know. Do you know what I mean? Like, put a comment, let me know. Like, what old carpets smell like. Now, I usually tell people to either steam clean their carpets if they really need to keep them, or get rid of them if there is a wood floor underneath. Now, in Canada these days, most people opt to not have carpets. It's really better to have just wood floors, but I know it's depending on where you live, which country, which climate. In the States, there's certain areas where people are used to have wall-to-wall carpeting. So all I'm saying is that be very, very, very sensitive. Pay attention to your carpets. If they're old, if they're stained, if they're smelly, do whatever it takes. And one of the options is to put baking soda on it. And I highly recommend that you try it. It doesn't work all of the time, but honestly, from all my research, it seems like the best solutions are baking soda and white vinegar, and that kind of works for a lot of stuff. And I'll address it. I'll talk about it a little more at the end, just in a minute. So does anybody, can you come up with any other smells that you find in houses that would really turn you off? So how about, let me think, how about the mothballs? Okay, like I feel bad. I deal with a lot of older people, and when you go into older people's homes, senior people home, a lot of times there's a particular smell. I don't know how to describe it. Give me names. Tell me how you would describe it. But I call it the old person smell. And sometimes it's a mothball smells, and it's just kind of a musty smell, and the windows might be closed. They might not air the house. And one of the best things, by the way, that I always tell the clients, is you have to air your house out before every visit. Like, this is so simple. Instead of sticking the deodorizers in the sockets, which are really, really bad things to do, by the way, and it's toxic to your pets. Granny smell, yeah. Curry, definitely. Mothballs smell like granny, yeah, like the old person smell. So what do you do to get rid of them? Give me suggestions. If anybody has ideas or suggestions on how to get rid of the smells, put them in the chat box. This way, like, everybody can benefit from that, because maybe you'll have ideas and tips that I'm not aware of, but I'd love to be aware of them. Oh, somebody, okay, I see Adriana is talking about the bathroom. I'm used to washing the trash basket once a week, clean it every day, put a small cotton ball with softener with tape. Oh, this is very good. I have never thought of that. But actually, I do want to talk about the soft fabric softener. It's a very good idea. So I'll address it. Yeah, so let's talk about it. So now, there are other smell. One more smell I want to talk about, and that's humidity, or like moldy humidity smell. So that one is a really biggie, because it might be a symptom of a serious underlying issue that your house has. So if you have a moth, if you have a humidity smell, I would say it's probably the first and most important thing to address is to see where it's coming from and why. Because does that mean that you have mold somewhere in the house? Maybe it's something coming from your basement. So super important to address it. And yes, Cindy, it's not a new background. I turned my desk, and I showed it at the beginning of this live. It is just my IKEA storage unit. So I turned my desk 90 degrees. I'm trying this out, and I'm actually really liking it, because I'm facing a big window, so I find my lighting is much better. And also when I work, I look out onto the street, so it's really nice. So for the solution, so that's what I wanted to talk about. It's really the bad smells, but now you need to address them. So first is to decide, first of all is, what is the smell, where it's coming from, And what are you going to do about it, right? So you do need to know that you have to try to get rid of the smells, which might deter people, especially before you have your visits, before you list your house for sale, or just in general. Like, I don't like to know that my house smells of anything. So I am obsessed with opening my windows. Okay, even in the winter, I open my windows a crack and I let the house air out every day. So I think it's one of the best things that you can do to keep your house fresh and not smelling oddly. The other thing is what there's some remedies that you can try at home. And I found, as I mentioned before, that baking soda and vinegar seems to cure all of the problems. It makes me want to write a post or do a Facebook Live specifically on the miracle of the white vinegar, apparently. So, for example, some of the things that were suggested is that you could put a little bit of baking soda at the bottom of your trash can, or as Adriana mentioned, you can tape, if you have time, you can tape a fabric deodorizer to the bottom of your trash can. I'm going to actually try that myself because I hate it when my trash can smells. And you can also, for example, if you find that your drawers or in your furniture smell kind of old and musty, that's another thing that you can do, is to first of all, you take stuff out of the drawer, and then a good solution is to take a spray bottle, and mix white vinegar with some water, and basically just spray it everywhere. Sometimes I even spray it on my fabric furniture to freshen it up. And I think, it's something you could do maybe like once a week and see if that's going to help. And if you have an area rug, I have an area rug, which it's a wool area rug. And especially if it's humid outside, I just find it starts smelling weird. So that's one thing that I have to remind myself to do. I'm going to put baking soda all over it, let it sit for a couple of hours, and then just vacuum it. Or you can spray the mixture of warm water and white vinegar on your furniture, on your area rug, on everything. But just try it first, don't put it on very delicate like silk fabric or something. And for the drawers, the same thing. You could spray the drawers with that mixture of white water and vinegar, and then you could put a little fabric softener sheet at the bottom, and that would really solve your problem. So I'm going to be trying to do that myself. Actually, I'm going to do it with my washing machine and see if that works. And some other common things that you can do, which are very easy to do if you have somebody who are coming for visits, is I love candles, but I would not put the candles that not everybody might like the smell of. But for example, chocolate, I don't know anybody who doesn't like the chocolate smell, or coffee smell, or just simply enough, just vanilla. And that's something that I do, is I light up the candles, vanilla candles. I wouldn't go like for cinnamon, for example, because not everybody likes that smell. And then another trick, if you're in a hurry and somebody's coming to visit your house and you happen to have lemons or oranges, you could boil some orange or lemon rinds in the microwave or on the stove for about 15 minutes. And that creates a really lovely natural smell. So remember, we're not trying to cover up the problems when we're selling our house. It's not the question of covering up the issues that you have. I always ask people to address the issues. So if you have humidity issues, they need to be addressed. But it's just to make sure that people feel comfortable in your house and that they want to spend more time in your house, right? The longer you keep them in the house, the better chances that they're going to make an offer. And oh, this is interesting. Debbie mentioned that she has a rainbow vacuum that I can purify the air in your house. I never heard of that, but I will check it out. This is a very interesting option. Debbie, does it actually work? Put it in the comments to let us know if it works. Rainbow vacuum. I haven't heard of that. But all that to say that the smells definitely need to be addressed. And boiling lemons and oranges, yes, and baking soda and vinegar, some candles, There are some, what do they call those infusers, you know, with the oil. You can buy those inexpensively as well. Again, you know, that's all good, but I think all the underlying smells have to be taken care of first, and then you can enhance it with, you know, the nice smells, especially for visits. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, you know, the smells, I cannot smell your smells and I cannot deal with them. But essential oils, somebody's saying yes, and odor neutralizers, that I put them in the registers. Oh, okay, that's great. Tell us your name, where you're from, and tell us which essential oils that people could use to neutralize odors, because that's a very, very excellent suggestion. And I love it, but I don't know which ones. So if you can give us a little bit more specifics, that would be fantastic. It would really help me, and it will help everybody else. So about the essential oils that neutralize odors, because that is great. So I can talk to you about Terry from Kingston. Oh, Terry, haven't seen you in a long time here. So yeah, tell us which essential oils, please. Help us out. So I just want to let you know that, again, you know, I cannot smell your smells, but I can see your house, and I can certainly help you with updating and choosing your paint colors and reorganizing your furniture and adding some decorating touches to make sure that your house looks its best, whether you're selling or not. Especially if you're selling, then of course the objective is to invest as little as possible and to gain as much as possible. So if anyone wants, if you have any specific questions, if you want to have a chat with me, we have a new person. We have several new people in the group, actually, every week. I try to connect with as many people as I can, but I'm, you know, doing a lot of things. So if you want to connect with me, I'm always available. You can put a comment in here, you can DM me, and we can have a schedule, a little chat. It's free, and we can see if I can help you to either stage your house to live or stage your house to sell. So yesterday, just before I close off, I just want to tell you that, and I'm not going to tell you his name, but there is a lovely, cute, funny young man. And I think he's a young man because he's a single guy, and he came into our group and he told me that the reason why he wants to be in the group is because he just bought his first house and he's very excited, and he actually has a style that he likes, which is kind of a farm style, and he doesn't want his house to look like a bachelor pad. So he is interested in learning how to update it and decorate it on a budget to make it look a little bit more up level the look of the house and make it look nice and appealing. So I thought it was fantastic. He made my day yesterday. And so I want to welcome him and everybody else in this group. If you're new, say hello to me. And I'm Sveta. I am in Montreal, Canada, but I work with people all over the world. So thank you very much for today. Again, I'm almost at 40 minutes. I always think that it's going to be super short and always ends up around 40 minutes. And I wish you a lovely rest of the day. And if you have any kind of questions or comments, please keep posting them and I'll talk with you. Thank you. Terry, please tell us about the essential oils. I really want to know. Thanks. Bye, everybody.